Hello world, I'm here to talk about my favorite budget engraving, Disrespect. A very cheap and very useful engraving. The whole reason for making this video is arguments on Reddit and Discord. Let me say why I really like Disrespect. It's, for my class at least, for my burst-oriented class, Igniter Sorceress, it's more than 10.8 damage overall. Although the tooltip does say it's 36% of 30% or lower HP enemies, and if we spread that throughout the entire fight, that's 10.8% damage buff overall. But, like I've said, I'm a burst-oriented class, and the fights, Guardian raids specifically, tend to be very short. So conditionally, this is for just the whole bonus thing above 10.8% damage overall is very conditioned. But let me say it anyway. Let's say in a 3-minute fight of a Guardian, I'm gonna get to use 3 Arcane Ruptures. And Arcane Rupture does 60% of my damage, more or less. Like building the meter does 30 to 40 damage, and using the meter does 60 to 65% of my damage. So, one of those 3 is gonna be 20% of my damage. And if I use it when the boss is low HP, Disrespect on top of that 10.8% damage that it would do anyway, is gonna buff 20% of my damage. That last Arcane Torrent. And a third of 20% is somewhere like 6% damage increase. Sure, I'm gonna spend some time that I would normally spend, like if you do the whole maths actually, the time you lost varies as well, but the window is like 15 seconds short, so more or less you're gonna get 5% additional effect from Disrespect, which puts Disrespect at like 15% damage increase, which is about as good as Hitmaster for the Igniter Sorceress. But it's very conditioned. It's very conditioned, and the longer the fight is, the closer you'll be going to that 10.8 number. It's always gonna be a bit more, but the shorter the fight, the more burst you can fit in it. Like if the fight is short enough for me to fit in 2 Arcane Ruptures, it's gonna be 30% of 30% of my damage, which is like additional 10%, you know. In that case, if the Guardian raid is only 2 Arcane Ruptures long, I'm just gonna save my second Arcane Rupture for when the boss is low HP, I know by the glowing eyes, and I'm gonna get 20% value out of Disrespect, which is about as good as Grudge. Like I've said, it's very conditional, so it's not always there, and I would not recommend using it over Grudge or over Hitmaster, but it has potential to do about as much as damage as they do in shorter fights. And there's an additional hidden, like I keep calling this hidden, it's not hidden, it's there. It's just there, it's not shown in the tooltip. Like, loads of bosses in video games have like their hardest phases when they're low HP. Lost Ark followed that trend somewhat, not all bosses, but some bosses do have rough last phases, like Albion has it, Valganos has it, Egrexion has it, plenty bosses already have it. Now I don't know if the Legion raids are gonna do that or not, like if they do it's gonna be an additional, I haven't really played before, I can't say for it, so that might fall off, but still, for Guardian raids, I dare saying this is like one of the best engravings, if you're doing the short ones, like it's one of the best engravings with the burst oriented classes. However, if I'm playing with my Berserker Mayhem, who does more or less all of its damage equally spread, like he's not gonna benefit a lot from Disrespect. All I have to think about is just using my Awakening when the boss is low HP, the rest doesn't matter. So he's much closer to that 10.8 than my burst oriented Sorceress is. That's all I wanted to say, more or less. Why Disrespect is actually not bad. Yep, that's it. Goodbye world!